Hello everybody, and welcome back to Voices of the Void, where I know it's been some time, and I do greatly apologize. It's been way too long, but um, well, with life being how it is, yeah, I've got a lot on my plate, or well, both a lot on my plate, figuratively, but literally not that much since um as of a few days ago I've begun a pretty hardcore diet, or not hardcore, it's just hard, because well, essentially you have to eat um no, or not specific thing, but a set of specific things only 4 times a day. You cannot, and it has to be a 4-hour interval as well. Because a little known fact is that I am unfortunately not that healthy. So I'm currently trying to go down in weight. Things have spent a lot in my life, and yeah, that's why I haven't made any new videos in a while. Anyway, yeah, that's all done. I can work
When I was
on
8
this
years
now.
old, I had a friend named Dennis. He lived not too far from me in a tall, orange house. You could tell by looking at his home that it was old. The siding had started to become feeble and worn in some areas. The windows were always dark, no matter what time of day it was. It had this ominous presence about it. Whenever I went over to play or spend the night, I always had this feeling that someone was watching me. The air was always thick with an invisible presence. I couldn't see how someone could live with that sensation, but Dennis seemed to have gotten used to it. It was a Saturday night. We were eating
Come
dinner at his
on,
table
come
after a long
on,
day
come
of playing
on.
outside. His parents were in the living room watching television. They didn't want to intrude on our visit, they had told us, so we sat together. Neither of us had spoken since we sat down. We were both exhausted, so eating was a higher priority than conversation for the moment.
Right, now I remember what happened. Large earthquake. Or well, something shook up the place. Remember now. Okay. Okay. Right. Now everything's coming back to me. Let's see. see. So I have the arms. The next thing would be the legs, which required 4 plastic, 2 metal, 2 electronics. Pretty sure I have all the joints here, so I have 2 metal. So I need electronics and plastic. Hmm. Of course, cockroach. Don't remember leaving blood there. Hmm. Oh. 2 pieces of electronic scrap. How lucky am I? Let's see. Huh. Bunch of food in here. Actually, I could throw all of my trash in, oh well, trash I want in there. The drive. And another one. Plastic crate. I think I could turn that into scrap. Ooh, more electronic scrap. Oh, I can probably... Okay, guess not. It's more like paper to me. But if it's called plastic trash, then... guess it is plastic trash. Not gonna argue against it. Hey, that's rubber. Don't need any rubber. Let's see, can I... There we go. There you go. I need to sleep.
Sealed behind the door. I could hear the quiet dripping of strange, depending on how you wish to interpret things. As soon as I spoke,
That's the thing, I can always recognize Mr. Eyeball. And I'm not going to let him get the jump on me. Never again. Okay. Need one more, right? 4 plastic. No, I need a lot more. But I have 2 metal, 2 electronics. Everything else seems to match up. Just need way more plastic. Let's see, can I turn you? Does not look like it.
I walked home from work as a kindergarten teacher, as I usually did. I cut through the large cemetery where most of my family is buried, and I decided to go pay my respects, as I did from time to time.
Sorry, I just heard
An
something.
odd fog began to roll in as the sun set, but I took no heed of it. Instead,
Let's see. On that run, so I'm just gonna 6, 5, 9, 5, 4, 5, 1. Oh yeah, this place. Oh wait, just remember this place has a lot of trash. Oh. Okay. F E F F H F E G F B, C, A. Shit. D, D, A. D, D, A. C, B, E, B, SBIP. G, F, E, A, G. There you go. Okay, nothing seems wrong there. A lot of trash here.
I looked at the bleeding words as they began to ignite within my flesh. My arms went up in a flash of white fire. I was numb to everything as I looked at the words written in the smoldering skin.
No, I'm gonna try to
It's all
listen
in
to one of
English
these
now.
for once.
Words such as die, gone, sorry, abandoned, and eternal appeared in crimson against the blackened flesh. I ripped from their hold and took off faster than before, the demons laughing all the while. I sprinted for a moment and looked over my shoulder, then forward again, just in time to hit a tree. I woke up as the sun rose. The tree I had searched for the other evening. I looked at my arms. They were normal. I looked toward my family plot to see a little boy setting a flower down as his parents watched. I walked over and asked who they knew, but as I got close, I noticed it was my name on the grave. The date said I had died over 2 years ago.
Oh
My
my.
heart sank as the memories flooded back, and watched as one of my former students placed a flower at his teacher's grave.
Oh,
Am I in hell?
uh. Where the hell is my yellow one? Oh, hey there, mannequin. I need to turn on my light for this. My bottle.
Entry 1. I don't know if this is going to get through to anyone. If it does, it's probably because they wanted it to. In which case, I'm really sorry. Maybe they just don't even care. Maybe it doesn't matter because there's nothing we can do. If you're anything like me, you've seen some weird new stuff around town. And more importantly, you've realized it and you've remembered it, while everyone else goes about their day in ignorant bliss. I don't know how far it goes, but so far, nobody has shown any capacity to register what I'm saying. I can spam it up and down the internet and I don't get one relevant response. Nothing. I've considered that I might just be crazy, but even crazy people can get some sort of reaction. Someone will at least try to humor them, calm them down. I've tried doctors, police, professors. They all just stare off into space when I start to describe this stuff. Like something is actively blocking the exchange of information. My biggest fear isn't even that I'm all alone. My biggest fear is that I might still only perceive bits and pieces of something bigger. Or worse, that my capacity to perceive all this is shrinking.
There we go. Nicely fueled up.
Journal entries and only see a pile of mysterious cake recipes. Who the hell knows? The first thing I ever saw was one of the pickup windows. It was just like any other you might see at a fast food place. But it was right on the side of my own house. Nothing amiss indoors, but outside, half the block was lined up on my front lawn, reading over a glowing menu full of scribbly-looking gibberish and receiving their meals, if you want to call them that, almost instantaneously. They all acted like it was their usual mundane lunch stop, even while the mail lady sucked some rancid-looking glop out of a plastic pouch, congealed blood dripping down her chin. She told me it was the best she'd ever had. All my questions were met with those blank stares and stupid smiles. I couldn't tell who or what was actually handing out the food, or where it was coming from. I could only see blackness. At least, that's how I remember it. Maybe I saw something else, but it's gone now. God. And it was only the beginning. All the restaurants in town, the real ones anyway, are typically deserted. Employees still show up to some of them, but they don't even realize that no customers are stopping in. Some of them even host new windows.
How the hell did you get up there?
Parasitically siphoning off all their business. The things seem to multiply constantly. I've seen them indoors, outdoors, on houses, on trucks, even one on a tree. A window to nowhere, in the trunk of a tree, dispensing deep-fried slop to an ignorant gaggle of hikers. Near as I can tell, all the products are meat, or some vague semblance thereof.
Well,
I can't always tell what kind of animal, or even what kind of body part it used to be. I've seen things that could have been dredged from some black, godless, deep-sea trench, gelatinous slabs of flesh.
guess I might have to buy a new one. Since my old thing may be gone. So I wasn't hearing things. Hold on, hold on. Okay, there's something going on out there.
Again. But I've noticed non-meat products are growing steadily rarer. Fruits and vegetables are sitting out longer between restocks. A lot of things are just getting phased out to make room for all the new items. I shouldn't have to say this if you could already read and comprehend this far, but for the love of God, don't eat it. Don't taste it, don't touch it. Try not to even smell it. The more people eat, the less they act like themselves, the funnier they talk. If you know something's up but you can't see what I'm seeing, I advise you to stick to cereal. I haven't found anything fishy about any of the cereal yet. I can't begin to postulate what's behind it all. Aliens, terrorists, Illuminati reptiloids. I could believe near anything at this point.
What is going on out there?
The ads are everywhere. Flyers, neon signs, billboards, all of them written in some weird foreign language I can't find any match for, plastered with goofy artwork of bug-eyed hot dogs and steaks, and less identifiable things. People stop and stare at them compulsively, pupils dilating while their clouded mind registers God only knows. A lot of people say the same exact thing.
I'm going to... Okay, so that thing is still over there. I'm gonna send the drone away so I can have better hearing.
the rapidly multiplying vending machines or one of the green doors. Those awful green doors. I don't know if they're actually new or I'm just newly capable of seeing them. The first one I noticed had grown, for lack of a better word, on the back wall of our local ShopRite. An ugly, faded seafoam affair, smeared windows shaped like their burger logo, chrome handle flecked with rust, same as all the others I've seen since. People were coming and going at a steady pace, but even when I staked it out for a good 6 hours, I never saw the same patron coming back out again. I guess that should have been a big warning sign, but I couldn't take it. I had to know. It didn't lead into the store, of course. I knew it wouldn't. As soon as I stepped inside, I was assaulted by the sound of eating, feasting.
Let's see.
Wet, breathy chewing sounds drowning out everything else, tugging at my gag reflex.
Right.
There were bars, tables and booths scattered in disorganized patterns around rows and rows of buffets. Many seats were occupied, but the bulk of the
Papa
customers were eating
Romeo
on foot,
Sierra.
wolfing stuff down right out of the bars as they went along. I knew none of them could comprehend what they were really doing, where they really were. The decor was almost, but not quite, in the style of a retro 50s diner, maybe with a dash of Dr. Seuss. A lot of the furnishings looked chunky, soft and plastic, like they were designed for children, though I can't imagine. I need to put this down in words. I can't explain what I've seen, and when the police come after me, as I know they will, I don't know what I'll tell them. I know what I saw on camera number 36 that night. I haven't slept a wink. How could I? Maybe the telling will help set my thoughts straight. I guess I should start at the beginning. I work at a security company. The business card says Surveillance Systems Specialist, which is a nice way of saying camera monkey. It's what the company does. We put in camera systems for businesses. Dome cameras, pan-tilt zooms, the whole 9 yards. Just a little bit of knowledge about wiring and the proprietary software, and we're good to go. At least it puts food on the table. It was late in the day
gonna try
when
to
I
do
got
my
the call
job
from Tim.
while whatever
I
is
work for
over
a small
there is
company,
doing its
and
thing.
we had to work pretty closely together. But nobody really liked Tim. He was a small, sour, middle-aged man, unhappy with his lot in life, always complaining about work, and tight-fisted too. $5 gift for a $20 Secret Santa exchange, never split a tip at the restaurant kind of guy. Hey, I got a 2-person job down at the building I'm working on. Just need to sign off that all the cameras are working. I know it's late, but we can get it all done by today. Half an hour tops. The project director's already given me a blank timesheet. We'll split it 50-50 as 3 hours of work. What you say? Tim's voice boomed from the phone, so loud that I had to hold it away from my ear. He sounded manically happy. Too happy. I'd never heard him say a single nice word to another human being in the whole 3 years I'd worked cameras. The offer was the clincher. He'd never let a person share in a blank check like he just did. But the offer was just too good to pass up. And I did the sums in my head, and greed won out.
Yep, they seem to be still over there. Oh, you think I'm gonna go over there and check out? No. I'm not a goddamn horror movie protagonist. No way in hell I'm going over there. Unless I necessarily have to, I ain't going anywhere near. As long as they stay away from here, they can keep doing whatever they want. Okay, I think that's... It was the legs, yeah. Right then. I'm just missing one piece. Eh. One piece. Let's see. The pelvis. Find that radioactive capsule. Though, before I go and do that, I should get the other things I need ready on here. Electronic scrap. Check. Any metal? Oh, it is quite worrisome what is happening over there. I mean, the hell even is that? Can't really tell. Well, you do you, and I'll do me, and we won't do each other. Probably. Okay. I got the metal scrap. I just need plastic and original prefer parts. And then the last thing will be the radioactive stuff. Let's see, I'm pretty sure I have more plastic in here. Yep. Not enough. Okay. There we go. Yeah, all I'm missing is the capsule, I believe.
Since I wasn't familiar with the building, the slowly panning camera that I could not control filled me with an unexplained dread. I wasn't surprised to
Let's
find
see,
goose
what's
flesh
the
up and
date?
down my arms. Why wasn't Tim picking up the phone? Where was he? My heart started racing. The walls felt like they were closing in on me in the tiny security room. The whole situation felt wrong. Motion on camera 36 caught my eye. It was strange. It looked like someone was turning off all the lights down the corridor in the center of the T-junction. This wasn't quite right. The camera had a low light mode. The lights from down the corridor would have provided enough light for something to be seen down that way. Not this absolute darkness. I twiddled the controls to the camera anxiously.
So,
I only caught glimpses of the darkness with every sweep of the camera. but it seemed to be getting closer and closer to the camera. No zoom. I leaned forward, almost pressing my nose to the screen to look at the advancing edge of the darkness. When my eyes focused on the leaning edge of the shadows, I jerked back in the seat in shock. The lights weren't being turned off. The shadows were slowly advancing towards the camera like an oily tide. What I saw from a distance as a solid line resolved itself into a mass of squirming tendrils grabbing at the floor and walls, pulling a solid mass.
See, I'm gonna do another ping to be safe.
I could hear my grandmother's dry voice intoning the word in Mandarin in my head. She held on to the
Run a quick calibration to ensure they are all tip-top shape. Here we go. 8 0 3 2 9 1 a 4 a 1. Maybe I should check the radar. Should be one of the first things I checked. Yankee. Okay. They're looking alright.
naturally euphoric tones. If I hadn't known any better, I would have assumed he was on drugs. Look, Tim, there's something strange on camera 36. I don't think it's safe there. I was practically babbling at that point, the unnatural darkness on the screen touching some raw nerve deep within me. There's no camera 36. I
The
put them all
lasers
in
must be
myself.
over there.
You don't sound too good.
Isn't that
Camera
in front
36
of the
showed Tim
base?
stopping in shock as he saw the inky blackness in the corridor. Against all good sense, he started moving forward towards it. The camera didn't pause at the horror before it, and all I saw next was the empty corridor Tim came from. Look, man, that looks dangerous. We should get out of here. Come back tomorrow when there's more people around or something. My voice echoed in the confines of the room, bouncing off steel racks of hard disks and processors and fans. You don't sound good, boy. You're looking at the cameras, right? I'm coming over. That same maddening tone.
Where is the
Practically leered down
yellow
the phone line at me.
floppy
Back to
disk?
Tim. He had knelt
Can't
down in front of the
find
inky
it.
patch on the ground. He reached out to touch the darkness with one tentative hand. Christ, don't do that, I yelled, my voice cracking. I frantically clicked at the controls with the mouse. They wouldn't work. Nothing was working. I saw Tim stiffen up and clutch at his arm as the camera moved on. People say things get clearer in a crisis situation. The time slows down. I didn't get any of that. The indecision froze me. I wouldn't be able to find Tim in time. My gaze swung indecisively from the door of the security room back to the screen, mirroring the dumb sweep of the camera. I had no idea where that camera was. I'd be better off trying to raise Tim again on the mobile phone. I returned to camera 36. No sign of Tim. The inky darkness continued down the corridor unabated. There was something small on the floor. Tim's phone. He must have dropped it. Must have made his escape. The view down the other corridor. No sign of Tim. There was no chance that he could have slipped past the camera. That's not how we set them up. Back to the central corridor, and the crawling darkness again. Just in time to see Tim's mobile phone get swallowed up by the dark. I gaped at the screen. Nothing in the room apart from the whirl of fans and the thunder of my pulse in my ears.
There's one here.
No. Something else. A small, scratchy voice coming from my phone on the table. My hands were trembling as I lifted it off the table. I thought you'd gone. Just stay there. I'm coming. It's hungry. It's hungry. It's hungry. Tim's voice still had that crazed cheeriness around it. The tone now taking on a menacing undercurrent. I was so intent on camera 36 that I hadn't noticed the room darkening slightly. The other cameras were turning off, one by one. They weren't being turned off. They were going dark. Just like the corridor in camera 36. Completely black. No emergency exit lights. Nothing picked up on the low light mode. Nothing but a blank screen and the little symbol showing the cameras in recording mode. That little symbol. It hit me like a blow to the gut. Camera 36. Tim's phone on the floor while he was still screaming nonsense down the line at me. Camera 36. Impossible to control from the console. Because the camera wasn't recording at all. It was playing a recording. I was stuck. Trapped in a cage.
Okay.
The room filled with eyes. I was slowly going blind as each screen winked out. Terror took on a new dimension. There was no way out. Help. I needed to get help. My breaths came hard and fast as the last of the cameras winked out. I had to do something. Then I saw it. One strand of hope. The big red button. I didn't know if the connection to the alarm company was up yet. The slap of my palm on the button echoed in the tiny room like a gunshot. I breathed out a sigh of relief. If I was right, somewhere in an office across town, an alarm would have gone off. Someone in a company very much like mine would be pulling out a list of addresses and calling the police with a potential break-in at my location. My triumph was short-lived. My knees turned to water as I picked out a new sound over the whirl of the fans and the computers of the room. Insistent sound of scratching at the door to the room. Are you gonna let me in? It's cold and dark out here, and I'm hungry. Tim's voice was different now. Earlier on, it had his usual nasal overtone, but now it seemed dry, with a strange echo to it, like a few people were speaking at once. It sounded nothing at all like Tim. I wondered if Tim's voice was what I wanted to hear from my phone all along, when all I was hearing was this dead, alien thing. There was a tiny crack under the door. There should have been a small sliver of light, but there was only a line of black. I backed away from the door. The sound of scratching grew louder. It filled the room. It sounded less and less like fingernails and more like claws raking on the reinforced door. The screech of something hard on the metal built to a crescendo, and then just stopped. The silence that followed was even louder than the din that preceded it.
Okay, that's not right.
Then, the slow scrap of metal on metal, tumblers and a lock turning. Tim's keys. Oh my god, Tim had the keys. The heavy door swung in. What was outside was nothing. It was like gazing into a deep, dark hole. Except the light from the room should have illuminated the corridor beyond. Instead, there was just this wall of black. Against all logic, the shadows were moved into the room. The inky darkness flowed across the threshold like an ebon tide. I knew I had to do something. The longer I waited, the less likely the chances of escape. I darted forward and grabbed the door. The black shadows had already crept up the door. I saw my hand disappear up to my forearm as I plunged it into the shadows, looking for the end of the door to close it. My questing fingers found the hard edge of the door, and I started to push. It budged, but just barely. I began to lean my weight against the door, breathing harder with both fear and exertion. The feeling of the blackness was far from pleasant. It wasn't cold like I expected. It was warm. The same warmth of a living body. My forearm felt the prodding and groping of a dozen squirming fingers trying to grasp my hand, their caresses getting more urgent as the door swung shut. Pain blossomed in my arm as the graspings turned to scratches, and nails dug into my flesh. With a last burst of effort, I managed to shut the door. There was no trace of the shadows in the room, and only the beads of blood welling up on my forearm stood testament to the horror of the previous moments. The minutes felt like hours while I was waiting for the cops, bracing my back against the door, hoping that whatever was on the other side wouldn't make another attempt to get into the room. I first noticed my ordeal was over when the screens and consoles started lighting up with the normal camera feeds again. All except for one. The feed from camera 36 was nothing but a hate.
Guess I'm doing what I said hostile. And I don't want to die. Oh. Hey there, Jerry. How much power do you have? Good. Where
charged at me. He full-on tackled me into the wall. I was screaming, his nose about an inch from mine. His eyes were so wide and bloodshot. I pushed him away and restrained him. He started crying and went limp. I heard the shift leader running upstairs, and everyone was awake now. I explained the whole incident and filled in all the necessary forms. The shift leader seemed a bit off, and I think he thinks I'm up to something. Andy was sat in the living room having a hot chocolate. The shift leader was asking him loads of questions. I got the other service users back to bed and headed into the kitchen. I heard a kind of rustling noise on the baby monitor again now.
Not still bleeding, am I? Wait, stop. I see some medicine in here. Oh, and battery as well. Okay. Pictures. Louise. You're energetic much.
The manager searched the room, which is apparently company policy. She came back downstairs with that bracelet I found in hand. She asked, "Why was this under Andy's pillow? Is it his?" Obviously not. It was blatantly a girl's bracelet. He had obviously taken it from the notice board and placed it under his pillow. Thankfully, my shift ended just after that. I got 3 days off now, but I'm still feeling pretty shaken, to be honest. I'm thinking of maybe setting up a recorder or something in the room when I get back to work. Any thoughts? Maybe try EVP or something? I've never had a paranormal experience before this, so I have no idea how to approach the subject. Any advice?
Right, pictures. No clue what that could be. I wish I have no better pictures. Weird looking. Is there any of them in this picture? They're definitely doing something out there. Which I do not appreciate. I'm gonna have to go out there if I want to complete my job.
My apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a cop who spent more time at the precinct than at home. The wallpaper peeled at the corners like old scabs. The carpet was a mottled gray that might have been blue in another decade, and the persistent smell of mildew suggested the plumbing was older than the landlord cared to admit. It wasn't much, but it was my refuge from the chaos of New York City, my own run-down castle. One lethargic Sunday afternoon, as the city exhaled the heat from the relentless August sun, I stood on the fringes of my small bathroom, scrutinizing my reflection in the faded mirror. I needed to shave, my beard a rough map of the past stressful week. As I nudged the mirror to get a better angle, it shifted slightly, revealing a corner of yellowed paper tucked behind it. Curious, I pried the mirror further open. It creaked in protest, the sound sharp in the quiet apartment. Behind it I found an envelope, the paper thin and brittle to the touch. Behind it I found an envelope, the paper thin and brittle to the touch. Written on the front in a hurried scrawl was rules of passage. My brow furrowed. My first thought was a prank, some twisted joke played by a fellow officer or a friend. But as I sliced the envelope open and unfolded the letter inside, the list of rules I found was anything but ordinary. Do not make eye contact. Do not speak to them. Never carry more than you can fit in your pockets. Do not take what is not dropped. Ignore all pleas for help. Do not eat or drink anything. Avoid the man in the conductor's uniform. Never go beyond the last platform. Never board the train. If you wish to leave, you must jump in front of the train. I read through the list twice, then a third time. My initial reaction was disbelief, mixed with an uneasy chuckle. It had to be a joke, a bizarre, detailed, and somewhat macabre joke, but a joke nonetheless. I imagined my buddy Rick's laughter when I confessed to being spooked, the precinct's break room echoing with hoots and hollers. Shaking my head, I placed the letter on the bathroom counter, my detective's mind idly noting the lack of dust around the mirror. It was odd, given the general neglect of my cleaning habits. The rules themselves were nonsensical. Or the train. It read like a bad movie script. The practical part of me wanted to crumple the paper up and forget it ever existed. Yet something nagged at me. A whisper of curiosity. Staring back at me seemed to carry a hint of caution, as if the tired eyes looking back at me also whispered, "Be careful." I left the bathroom, the letter's words echoing in my mind. It was just a prank, I reassured myself. But as the city outside buzzed, and the shadows in my apartment deepened with the setting sun, the list of rules felt more like a warning than a joke. And deep down, as the evening crept over New York, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life had just taken a turn. A week had passed since I discovered the bizarre list of rules behind my bathroom mirror. Each day, the letter's presence gnawed at me, an itch in the back of my mind that wouldn't subside. The rules haunted my thoughts, whispering through my daily routines, disturbing my sleep. Finally, unable to quell my growing obsession, I decided to
see if I can sell some of these things. Hopefully it should keep me going long enough.
pulled my jacket tighter around me. As I ventured deeper into the station, I recalled the second rule: do not speak to them. I bit my tongue as a spectral old man nearly bumped into me, muttering apologies to no one as he shuffled past, newspaper under arm. My attention then shifted as a figure distinct from the rest paced the platform. It was a man in a conductor's uniform, his face harsh and creased with what looked like perpetual anger. The uniform was impeccable, the buttons polished to a shine, and his cap pulled low over his brow. As I watched, the conductor stopped and surveyed the platform with a scowl, his eyes seeming to look right through the spectral passengers. I kept my distance, observing the conductor's routine, noting his paths and stops. The longer I stayed, the more the place felt suffocating, a strange pressure building in my ears. Remembering the final rule, I knew it was time to leave. couldn't risk getting trapped here. I turned towards the tunnel, then hesitated. On the ground, near where I had appeared, was a handful of coins, old and tarnished. Do not take what is not dropped. The rule echoed in my mind. These were dropped, so it must be fine, right? I picked them up, rationalizing that it was worth the risk for proof that I wasn't hallucinating. With one last wary glance at the stern-faced conductor, I turned back to the tunnel to realize it was sealed. I placed my hand on the wall and felt nothing but cold, unyielding stone. I remembered what I had to do and scanned the scene until I saw a track with a train only beginning to take off. It accelerated at an impossible rate, but I was able to make it to the edge of the platform just in time. I jumped in front of the phantom machine that made no sound as it raced towards me. Closing my eyes at the last moment, I braced for impact, only to find myself tumbling onto the cold, hard tiles of my bathroom floor. Gasping for air, clutching the coins in my fist, I lay there for a moment, the reality of my apartment crashing back around me. I had escaped the station, but the station hadn't quite left me. As I stood, shaky and disoriented, the weight of the coins in my hand was a solid, undeniable confirmation of the night's reality. The portal was real, the rules were real, and I had a fistful of evidence. The first trip through the mirror tunnel left me both exhilarated and terrified. The coins I'd pocketed, a handful of pre-World War II nickels and dimes, were tangible proof of my unbelievable journey. As morning light seeped through the grimy windows of my apartment, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the events of the night replaying in my mind like a looped film, determined to understand.
Let's say once they're gone, I'll go and get it. Yeah, I'm gonna do my job beforehand. I'm pretty sure Romeo is that place, so. the hell they wanted with that pit. It's just a pit. What's so special about that pit? Here's my heart attack. So I'm hoping I won't have to worry about them for a while. Now, main thing I'm having to think about, what is down in that pit that they wanted? And why they wanted to open it in the first place? For all I know, it could feel like a Pandora's box. Thing designed to lock away something incredibly powerful, dangerous, or just lock away something that once open cannot be undone. I'm going to put you there. And you are going to take a nap.
Lucy slipped the woman's necklace off and into her pocket, a victorious grin spreading across her face. But as she turned to Rick, her triumph faltered at his expression of pure, unadulterated horror. Confused, Lucy spun back to the woman, only to find herself staring into a face now hauntingly clear, mascara-stained tears streaking down her cheeks. "Help me," the woman pleaded, her voice a chilling whisper. I'm sorry, Lucy stammered, her words swallowed by the sudden, deafening silence that descended upon the station. I, realizing the unfolding catastrophe, could only watch as every spectral figure turned towards Lucy, their faces contorted in a collective rage. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to," Lucy whimpered, her voice small and broken as the ghostly crowd advanced, their hands outstretched, grasping, tearing. In the distance, the conductor's eyes blazed with a fury that burned through the very fabric of reality. Lucy's screams echoed through the station as the vengeful specters descended upon her, their incorporeal forms suddenly all too solid. "Train," I screamed, my voice raw with desperation. But Rick, consumed by panic, made a fateful decision. As the spectral train glided into the station, its form a shimmering aberration, Rick leapt through its closing doors, my anguished cries fading behind him. Reaching the platform's edge, jumped. My hands terrified face pressed against the train window haunted me. The echo of Lucy's screams merged with the constant, oppressive silence of my apartment. In a frantic haze, I grabbed a hammer and began to tear into the drywall, each strike a mix of hope and desperation. Dust and plaster flew around me as I dismantled the wall piece by piece, revealing not the eerie station or the darkened tunnel, but the mundane sight of my kitchen tiles through a jagged hole. With nothing left to do, I put the mirror back up, covering the scars of my frenzy. The reflection that stared back at me was a man broken, eyes hollow, the weight of my unshared secret. The following weeks were a blur of police activity and whispered whispers. Weeks turned into a month, and the search for Rick and Lucy began to dwindle, the case growing cold, but never settled on. The precinct slowly returned to its usual rhythm, but I felt detached, moving through my duties as though underwater. One quiet evening, as I sat at my kitchen table nursing a beer, a faint tapping sound pulled me from my thoughts. It was rhythmic, insistent. With a heavy heart, I stood and made my way to the bathroom. The sound grew louder as I approached. I reached out a trembling hand and took the mirror down once more, expecting to see the dark tunnel stretching out before me. Instead, there was only the wall, innocuous and taunting. I replaced the mirror, but as I turned to leave, a small envelope slid out from under the edge of the frame. I picked it up, the paper familiar yet ominously heavy in my hand. I tore it open, and a single folded piece of paper fell into my palm. Unfolding it, I read the new set of rules, my heart sinking with each word. Do not return for them. Do not look for doors where there are none. The past cannot be saved.